The New York Rangers have now consumed 15.9% of their total available cap space for the 2020-2021 season as a result of player buyouts. 15.9%, by the way, is $12,994,444. For all intents and purposes, that is $13 million in dead cap, and it is broken down thusly. Kevin Shattenkirk, just under 6.1 against the cap. Henrik Lundqvist, $5.5 million against the cap. Dan Girardi, just over $1.1 million against the cap. Ryan Spooner, $300,000 against the cap. It's negligible, but when the cap's not going up, it's pretty tough. And then, of course, there's Brad Richards, who was a compliance buyout, so he's $0. Wow. Is that ever awful?
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Well, so a lot of people were, because I said, well, the Rangers are getting ready to make some noise. And people were rightly like, what the hell are you talking about, Steve? They have $13 million dedicated to dead contracts. Well, I'm looking at their cap friendly, and I'm looking at the way their team is built. They need maybe 3 more defensemen to add to the team. Well, they got to give Tony DeAngelo a contract extension. They got to give Georgiev a contract extension. You know, they have a few other RFAs, none that I think are going to get a really big payday. And they still have $23.1 million in cap space to deal with. DeAngelo and Georgiev are not going to take up $23 million. So I don't think you get rid of the Mark Stahl and Henrik Lundqvist deals to get out of the rain. I don't think you do that just for something to do. I think the Rangers, like any New York team should really, are looking to go into free agency and make some noise. Are they going to get a guy like Pietrangelo? No, I don't think so. But I could see them contending for a Hall or even a Hoffman, or they're going to go out there and they're going to make some noise. And not just that, they have the first overall pick. Everyone's forgetting. They've drafted really well.
I forgot that as well.
Yeah, they've drafted really well recently. They have a lot of draft picks. They have Carolina's first round pick, 22nd overall, that they need like a hole in the head. You lucked out and got the first overall pick. If I was the Rangers, I'd punt that thing out the door right away to get a guy who can play on my roster right now, and that will help me fill one of the holes on D. The New York Rangers, we talked about this, man. I love what they're doing with their rebuild, and when you are a powerhouse like them financially, I don't think you intend on being bad for very long. They flexed their muscle with Artemi Panarin last year. That Jacob Trouba contract is terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be with this whole financial situation. A lot of teams are. I don't think the Rangers are.
It's weird to think about how much space they have, considering you take away $13 million from it. Like, how much more space would they have if they didn't have these buyouts? Yeah, because and that says about their team, they have so many entry-level deals that are under $1 million.
And, you know, they could still, I mean, Chris Kreider just got his ridiculous extension, but he's been rumored to be traded forever. Mm-hmm. So they could still trade him. People always forget that you are allowed to make trades. You are. They could still go out and trade Alexander Georgiev, even though they bought out Henrik Lundqvist. They could, if they wanted to. They have so many options, these guys. I wouldn't put anything past them. That you're getting too caught up in the $13 million in dead space, and you're not looking hard enough at everything else they have at the ready, including $23.1 million in cap space.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy. A lot, man.
So
but I guess with regard to Lundqvist, who we didn't really talk about, it's such a shame. I hope he calls it quits. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I hope he goes to another team and he tries to contend for a cup. I would like him to contend for a cup with the New York Rangers in a managerial role or a coaching role or something like that. He's a Ranger.
I think if he was going to retire, this buyout wouldn't have happened. Don't you got to think that? You got to think, okay, if they had talked to him, because you're not going to not talk to the guy. You go to Henrik, you say, are you going to retire? He says, no, I still want to play. So they say, okay, you're not playing for us. We got to buy you out. Because if he was going to retire, then he retires a Ranger and you avoid all this buyout stuff. And there was a point number 7 in 31 Thoughts. It said, the Rangers made Lundqvist's buyout official on Wednesday, but expect them to bend over backward to treat him as royalty. One thing they've adamantly refused to do is speculate on his next steps, believing it is the future Hall of Famer's right to address it. So it sounds like they know what he wants to do, and it sounds like he wants to keep playing, else he would have probably announced his retirement and avoided this buyout. And I'm not going to call it an embarrassment, because it's not embarrassing when you're Henrik Lundqvist. You've done enough in your career where you can't get embarrassed at this point. But you don't want to be bought out by the team you've been with your entire career. You don't want. You want to avoid this. It's
too fresh, though. Like people are like, who is Ty Domi a Leaf legend? Like, is he beloved? He's beloved in Toronto.
Yes.
What about Darcy Tucker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both bought out of their final contracts with the Leafs.
Right.
Or was Domi? I think Domi was like, they traded his rights to Nashville or something like that. Like, Domi was a Nashville Predator for a hot minute or something like that. They were both pitched out of town unceremoniously.
Mm-hmm.
And then that stings for a bit. And then a few years later, you forget about it. I wonder if Henrik Lundqvist would consider signing with the Chicago Blackhawks. And I'm like, oh, that would look so yucky.
He's going to sign somewhere. Somebody needs a backup goalie for cheap.
Oh, you think?
And the worst thing is he might still have it. It's like the Rangers had to force Henrik out the door because they have, 2, maybe 3 goalies that could start for them. So, yeah. So there's no room for Henrik there, but he could still be a starter / 1A, 1B for a team in this league. We haven't seen it. We don't know.
I tell you what, if Henrik Lundqvist comes back and plays this upcoming season, I hope he plays the next 2 following as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see this Martin Brodeur crap where he played 5 or 6 games with the stupid Blues.
Yeah, you don't want Brett Favre in his last year with Minnesota.
I'm only calling the Blues stupid because, they were stupid when they had Brodeur. That looks stupid. So, okay, I'm looking at this. This was something that Brodeur ruined, by the way, when he left the New Jersey Devils. So I'm looking now at the list of all-time playoff wins for goalies. Patrick Waugh is so far ahead of everybody else with 151. Brodeur is second with 113. But Brodeur would have the most ever for a goalie who played his whole career with one team. But he screwed it up.
Yep.
Because he didn't play his whole career with one team. Ed Belfour's not on that list. Grant Fuhr's not on that list. Billy Smith is. So Billy Smith holds the record with 88 playoff wins, all played with the New York Islanders. Henrik Lundqvist is at 61. But I believe in the regular season, I think he might be number 1. I got to check it out. So he's 6th all-time in NHL wins, 459. And none of the top 5 guys have played all their games with one team. It's Brodeur, Waugh, Luongo, Belfour, Fleury. Every single one of those guys played for more than one team. Henrik Lundqvist is a Ranger, man, and I'm going to be really upset. It's going to look so icky.
Mm-hmm.
And to give you guys an idea, so this was something that Jason York got lit up for on Ice Surfing. Because basically what he said is it's not the Hockey Hall of Very Good.
Oh, no. Is he saying isn't the Hall of, because that's a bad take.
I told him I disagree with it.
What number did you literally just read? 6th all-time in wins. That alone.
Regular season wins.
That alone. That's a number that's like 500 home runs, that there's a number that's okay, we put you in the Hall of Fame.
In terms of advanced goalie metrics, now, granted, I don't know exactly how this is measured, but from Evolving Hockey, since 2007, which is basically when analytics kind of started, everything before that is a little It's not really available. Since 2007, Henrik Lundqvist provided 57.2 wins above replacement to the Rangers, close to 20 more than the next goalie, which was Carey Price.
How much?
57 wins above replacement. So basically, if you had a replacement level goalie, like just an average guy, the Rangers would have won 57 fewer games.
Yeah. The chart is based on 0. So an average would be a replacement level is 0. So anything above that is an extra win. So he's 57 above the 0. It's crazy.
Over that same span, Lundqvist saved 278 goals above expected during the regular season. What?
I like how you say these numbers.
The next goaltender is Jarro Halak, surprisingly, at 96. So Henrik Lundqvist, from 2007 onward, stopped 278 more goals than just regular run-of-the-mill NHL goalie. And by the way, NHL goalies are the best goalies in the world. That's how much better Henrik Lundqvist was and is than the average NHL goalie. 270 teams allow 278 goals against in a season. The guy did everything but deliver a Stanley Cup on a platter to the New York Rangers. And he would have had the most deserving Conn Smythe ever probably in 2014 had the Rangers beat the Kings. They did not.